Hi everyone, and welcome back to my channel. It's your girl Stella Roberts here, and I'm finally shooting the motherhood and homeschool Q&A that you've all been waiting for. It took me a while to get to this point to actually sit down and answer the questions because of different things. But I'm just really excited to finally be sitting down, to have everything set up, and have my questions ready that you guys have sent in so that I can do this Q&A. It's really exciting. It's the first Q&A that I'm doing on my channel, and I am actually really pleased with the feedback that I received. So I got 10 questions from more people than I expected, and a lot of people had the same question, which was really surprising to me. So I can see now what you guys are most interested in when it comes to my channel, and I'm sure you guys know, given where I'm sitting in the homeschool room, is that you guys really seem to be super interested about homeschool. And it kind of surprises me because for me, homeschooling is something that is so simple, but also that has a lot of negative stigmas. And so I wasn't expecting, I guess, as much positive feedback towards homeschool that I've been getting on my channel. But it's actually very exciting. And I can see how the Lord is kind of leading and guiding the direction of my channel. And for now, in this season, that looks a lot like homeschool. So I'm excited for you guys. I'm at the beginning of the journey. My son is only 2 years old, so I don't know everything, but I do have some information, and I am homeschooling as consistently as I possibly can. So I hope that my answers will be sufficient to kind of help you. But the best thing to do for sure is always to go look for those answers, to go and research and do your due diligence and figure a lot of things out on your own. But if I'm able to help point you in the right direction, then I know that my job is done. All right, let's get into it. So one of the most common questions that I received was, how do we get started with homeschooling? So depending on what province you're from, there are different regulations when it comes to homeschooling your children. So I would definitely go and look at the requirements of your province or state if you're in the US to see what you have to do in order to homeschool. You can homeschool anywhere in Canada, but there's just different steps that you have to take depending on where you are. So if you're in Quebec, like me, you do have the freedom and the liberty to homeschool your child up until grade 1 on your own. But once grade school begins, you need to send a letter at the beginning of every year, every single school year. You have to send a letter of intent to homeschool to just let the Minister of Education know what your plans are. And that's really how you get started. Legally or technically speaking. But practically, how do you get started with homeschooling? You sit down with your child, you listen to them, you learn where they're at. You can do assessment tests if you'd like, and what that looks like. I mean, it sounds a lot more complicated than what it is, but how do I assess what my child knows? I can have, let's say my son is 2, so I'll keep it relative to him. He's 2 years old, so I can have a bunch of shapes on his whiteboard, and I can ask him to tell me what the shapes are without me helping him. And based on his knowledge, I'll be able to see, okay, he's good at recognizing shapes, or he needs help at recognizing shapes, or he doesn't know shapes at all. And that's how you're able to assess your child's knowledge. So you can apply that same method with any subject, with any topic, numbers, math, French, geometry, anything that you are teaching your child. You can assess their knowledge by just testing them. It's very simple. Okay. And then the third thing that you need to do to get started, honestly, is to just do it. So I have 10 tips on getting started with homeschool video that I already made. So I'll link it right up here, and then you'll be able to just click that and you can get more details about how to get started with homeschool by watching that video. So another question that I got multiple times was, do I create all of my homeschool content from scratch? So my heart wants to say yes, but the truth is I don't create everything from scratch. So a great majority of what I do create is from scratch. A great majority of it is original, but I do also use other things that are not as original. Like, for example, flashcards. I bought these flashcards. I didn't make the flashcards. And so that is something that I have that I use with my son that is not original content. It's something that I purchased. I was still in control with the content of the curriculum, but you can guilt-free, you can go and do your research, go online and pull different tools together to create the curriculum that you want. Not everyone has a desire or a skill to create the curriculum, and you don't have to feel pressured, you don't have to feel guilty, you don't have to feel like you have to make everything from scratch because you're homeschooling. You could definitely go and purchase curriculums, which I do have, and I'll show you one right now. So I've got this book right here called the Big Preschool Workbook, and it's from ages 3 to 5. So it is a little bit advanced for my son, but there are things that he is able to do. Okay, because he does know his letters, he does know his colors, and he is able to actually follow a pattern like this one. That's one curriculum that I have, okay? And another type of curriculum that you can get is by downloading a PDF online. There are a lot of free resources, which I will link 2 or 3 of them in the description box. And then this is a spring curriculum that I got for him because I know that I will be giving birth very soon. And so for the spring, I will not really be able to focus all of my energy on creating a bunch of curriculum for him. So I decided that I was gonna just invest a little bit, and I got this curriculum for 10 bucks. I think the book was also like $10 or $13. And what's really cool about this springtime curriculum is that, yes, I printed out the preschool educational pack, but it also came with it basically goes up to grade 2. So now I have an entire curriculum from preschool to grade 2 that is focused on the spring season. So in short, no, I don't create all of my curriculum, but I am in control of everything that I teach my son. And you can be too. All you have to do is research, and you go shopping online, and you can decide what it is that you would like for your child to learn, what kind of content. They have Christian content out there, and they also have obviously regular content. And I personally, I'm not picky in terms of it has to be Christian. No, because I am already a Christian, so I can already teach my son biblical values by the way I live my life, by reading the Bible to him and stuff like that. So I focus more on getting academic books so that, you know, he can learn on his own and also learn based on what I teach him, which you guys will be able to see all of that in the homeschool binder video that I will be releasing after this video. Okay, which brings me to the next question, which is, how do you come up with the curriculum? So coming up with curriculum is actually fairly simple. You have to decide what you want to teach your child, and how you can do that is by basically outlining the different subjects that you want your children to learn. For me, I've got, let's see if I can remember them off the top of my head. So languages, English and French. I've got reading and writing. I've got math, art, Bible, and science, I believe. And so then you say, okay, so I have these categories. Now, how am I going to break it down? So for languages, you might have, phonics, you'll have learning the alphabet in English and in French. And then that can kind of lead into reading and writing, where you'll have tracing of letters and you'll have story time with your child. When it comes to art, you'll have a lot of coloring, you'll have color recognition, you'll have shapes, which fit both into art and to math, which is where geometry comes along. And then you have science, which is more sensory play and experiments and activities, and so forth. With math, you have counting, you have with math, you have counting, you have learning your numbers, and so forth. And everything that you do in English, you can also do in French to teach both languages, or you can do it in Spanish or any other language that you would like to teach your children. Okay, so someone asked, what does it take to homeschool in Quebec? I've already answered that in the other question, talking about how to get started with homeschool. But one thing I will definitely recommend to add to that is to definitely get associated with like kind of a union. So right now I have a membership with the HSLDA, which is the Homeschool Legal Defense Association. And it might sound scary that you would need to be a member of a legal defense association, but it really isn't scary. They help keep you informed. They help keep you up to date with laws and regulations that are changing that affect homeschooling. And if ever you need legal defense, they're there to help you out with that. And with the HSLDA, it's free until preschool begins. So until my son is 4 or 5 years old, it's free. And then beyond that is where I would begin to pay for my membership, which is great because my son is still very young and I still have so much I can learn. And then once he starts grade school, then I'll be able to decide if I want to invest in that. Another cool thing about the HSLDA is that it's Canadian wide. And so it doesn't matter what province you're from, you will still be able to benefit from this group. And I will link their website in the description box as well. Another question that I got regarding homeschool is, what made me decide to homeschool? So again, I feel like I'm linking you guys a lot to other videos that I've done, which is fine. I have a video that talks about 5 reasons why I decided to homeschool. So you could definitely check out that video to get a detailed response. But what I will say in this video is that we homeschool because we believe that it is God's plan and purpose for our lives to be active in our children's upbringing, to raise them up in the way that they should go. And the best way for us to do that is to be present as much as possible. So I stay home and I take care of our children, and we homeschool as a lifestyle. So it's not just about sitting down for a certain amount of time and learning about shapes and colors and numbers, but we incorporate it in everything that we do. So I think this is the last homeschool question, and that is, do you get paid to homeschool? I wish I could say yes. I wish I could say yes. The government subsidizes, they give you money or whatever to homeschool your children. But the truth is they don't. And it makes sense because school is free anyway. So yes, you have to pay for like lunches and books and stuff like that. But you also do that here. You know, with homeschool, I still have to spend on materials. I still have to spend feeding my child. So it's not a loss for me to homeschool. It's a gain because I'm gaining time spent with my son. And he's really calling after me, so I'll take a break right here and I'll get back to all the other questions in the second half of this video. All right, so where were we? In the first half, we talked about all the homeschool questions, and now we're gonna talk about all the other questions that I was asked. And it just turned out that my son he woke up from his nap and he wanted a snack. And so I made his lunch, gave it to him, and then I came back to shoot the rest of the video. So I'm only telling you guys this because it's a part of real life and I wanted to share it with you. So there you go. Now you know. So the next 4 questions are based on being a stay-at-home mom, being a mother in general, pregnancy, and kind of related to work and stuff like that. So the first question on here is, what is it like to give birth with a midwife as opposed to, I guess, an OBGYN, doctor, and so forth? Since having a midwife is my only experience, I gave birth at a birthing center with my son the first time. And if you guys want to know my birthing story, you guys can watch my birthing story, which I will link right here as well. So you guys have a few videos to catch up on. And this time around, I'm also going to be giving birth with a midwife. And what I love so much about midwifery is the freedom that you have as a woman to decide what happens to your body, to decide how you're gonna go through labor, and literally as much as you can be in charge, you can be in charge. If you want to pull your baby out of your own body, they'll let you. If you want to give birth in the pool, in the water, at home, they'll let you, because it's guided by you and they are there as a support. A misconception about midwives is that they are not trained professionals, but in truth, I believe, and from what I've learned, is that midwives are actually more equipped to give birth, to help you give birth naturally, than OBGYNs and doctors, because the difference is that the doctors are trained for emergency situations. God bless them that they're able to help women and mothers and other patients who are in emergency situations and need this kind of care. But giving birth is not that type of emergency. I mean, yes, it's serious, but you don't need all of that medical intervention, you know? And for me, I've always desired to give birth naturally, to not be on any medication and stuff like that, because I don't want it to affect my baby or anything either. And so I have so many positive things to say about midwifery. I love the field. Who knows what God will do concerning that, but all I can say is that I am so happy about the decision to give birth with midwives, and I would do it over and over and over again. And that's what I'm doing. So thank you so much to all the midwives out there. If you're a midwife watching this, I just want you to know that I love what you do so much. And I'm just so grateful that we have that opportunity to do that here in Canada. Whereas in some places, you know, like, it's kind of frowned upon. But that was the original way to do things anyway. So another topic for another time. So I got this really interesting question. And I wasn't sure if I was gonna share it in the Q&A or not, or if I was gonna reach out to the person directly, but I decided that I was gonna talk about it here anyway. And this question, so if you guys have been keeping up with my videos, you guys know that I had a son in my first pregnancy, and now with my second pregnancy, I'm carrying a daughter. And so I've been asked how to favor or how to encourage a certain gender over another when being pregnant. I just want to say that I know there's old wives' tales online, and there's different things that the internet can recommend for us to do. But I personally believe that God chooses the gender of your child. He chooses who's going to be in your womb at what time. And so I don't think I have a say, really. I mean, God knows the desires of our hearts. So in that sense, we can pray and we can ask God, and Him being a good Father, knowing what we need, can give us answers to our prayer according to His will. But I wouldn't say that there's anything like in this physical world that you can do to make sure that it's a boy or a girl. I think that gender is decided from the very beginning, from the moment of conception. God knows if that baby's gonna be a boy or a girl. It's not because I'm gonna eat more carrots or more oatmeal that I'm gonna end up having extra chromosome or not. From the very beginning, it's decided supernaturally by God in his infinite wisdom. And so with that being said, all I can encourage you to do again is pray. I did actually pray when I was like 17. I'm like, Lord, one day when I get married and I have children, let me have a son first so that he can be the big brother to all of his siblings. And that was like a fleeting prayer of a child, but God heard that prayer and he saw my heart and he granted me that desire. And I didn't even remember that prayer until the ultrasound technician told me that I was having a boy. And I was like, wait, what? Are you sure? No way. Like, and that's when I remembered my little girl's prayer. And now when it comes to having a daughter, I mean, it was a desire in my heart. I'm not going to lie. I really did desire to have a daughter, and my husband too. But we were content with whatever the Lord blessed us with, whether it was another boy or not. We would have been happy and blessed because we knew that God's will was perfect. And clearly it is perfect. He's blessing us with a baby girl now. So all praises and all glory go to God. And again, I don't think there's anything that we can necessarily do to manipulate that. Like, no. All right. This next question is, how do you manage? So basically we live on one income right now, and me being home, you know, most of the time it'll be my husband who will be really taking care of us, providing for us, and going to work and those kind of things. And so someone had asked me, how do I manage to survive on one income? And honestly, like, for me, we don't even see it that way. We don't even see it as living off of one income, because we share everything that we have. And whether I make commissions off of the work that I do or whether he's bringing home a paycheck, it doesn't matter. We put it together and we budget wisely, and we manage our resources. We manage our food. We manage the things that we have, and we take care of them so that they last long. And we don't go crazy in the stores either by just buying every single thing that we see that we think is cute, but we plan a lot. Like, we really do manage our resources, and that's really how we do well. That's why we have more than enough, is because we are living beneath our means rather than living above our means. And I think anybody can do that, anyone at all. There's a video on YouTube by Vadi Bakum where he talks about how even a single mother who, you know, doesn't have her GED or doesn't have her high school diploma is still better equipped to homeschool while being on welfare, for example, because it's all about how we manage what we have. And the Bible says when we seek first the kingdom of God and his righteousness, all these things, meaning our basic needs, meaning food, clothing, and shelter, will be provided for us. We won't have to worry about tomorrow. God can take care of us. And that's really the mentality that we try to live on. So we focus on the Lord. We trust in him to provide. And when he does provide, we manage our resources in a wise way. And I think with those three things combined, it doesn't matter how much you have, God will be able to use that, and he will be able to multiply that so that it will be enough for your bills and more, even some desires, you know. The last question, we've come to the end already, but the last question that we have here is, what kind of work do I do from home? That's a really good question. I do a lot of different things. Starting out, I was working as a photographer, and I thought that that was my dream career job. I thought that I loved, you know, doing portraits and doing events, but for different reasons, I realized that it's actually not for me. I don't know if I'll ever talk about what happened to change my career path, but I still enjoy taking photos. However, I no longer desire to do that as a career. But what I do is I'm a writer and I copy edit for people. So where I make most of my income at home is from copy editing for people. So if someone writes a book, if someone has a website or anything in between and they need editing services, then they come to me and I will edit for them. And then I do some social media management, some business coaching, as well as graphic design, so making logos and stuff like that. And all of that really encompasses the same thing. So I help people to build their brand and to build their business, and I also help them when it comes to publishing their own books and publishing their websites and making sure that everything is clean, organized, and proofread, because a typo could literally cause you to lose everything. I mean, if I see a typo in a book that I'm reading, I don't even want to read the book anymore, because to me I'm like, how did you miss that, you know? But not everyone is good at everything, and I understand that. And for me personally, that's the area that I work in. And I'm also working on creating merchandise right now. I'm working on some homeschooling curriculum that I do want to provide for free. Maybe it won't be free forever, but starting off, I definitely want to have you guys have that there available and accessible, so that you will be able to help your children and not have to worry about the cost, because life is already hard enough, you know? So let's just not try to make things harder, and I want to provide that for free for now. I mean, it will be PDFs, of course. You guys will have to just download them. And oh yeah, I'm a YouTuber. How could I forget to mention that one? It's 'cause it's like second nature to me. I love what I'm doing. I'm basically just video journaling. I'm vlogging everything that I'm doing and keeping a record of that online. And if it benefits anyone, then it benefits someone, you know? And so that brings me to the end of our motherhood and homeschool Q&A, our first ever Q&A. It was a lot of fun for me to film this. It was very interesting. I don't know what the future holds, but I definitely hope that it holds some more Q&As, because it was really fun to do. And it was content that you decided on. It was content that you created for me. So thank you so much to everyone who participated, and I can't wait to see you guys in the next video. God bless you guys. I love you guys so much. Don't forget, pray, be productive, and just trust in the Lord. He will help you to prosper if you keep your eyes on him. God bless you so much. Love you. Mwah!